Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the BAKFlip MX4 on this 2022 and up body style Toyota Tundra. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket and a Phillips head screwdriver. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, next what we're going to do is install our corner seals up into the corners. So on the bulkhead, we don't need to put a bulkhead seal on top, but you can see where there's a little dip right in here. There's also a little gap opening right back behind here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of pull our fiber liner back a little bit to where we can get access to this area back in here. Now we've got a couple of seals in our kit. We've got this block seal, it's a gap filler that's going to go kind of up in here and against the bulkhead like so. And then we've also got this piece right here. It's kind of a D shape that's going to stick to the inside of our bed cap just like so. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and clean off those surfaces where it's going to adhere with some rubbing alcohol, and then we'll go ahead and adhere those. If you lift up on that bed cap, it'll just pop right up. So that's the surface that we're going to be sticking to right there. So I'm going to clean that off nice and thoroughly. And then also down in here, this vertical surface right behind the backside of the bulkhead here. And then we can go ahead and set our stuff in place. So we're just going to peel away protective tape. And the way I like to do this is push it all the way, since it's adhesive on this side, I'll push it all the way up against the side of the bed cap here, slide it all the way up, and then slide it towards the bulkhead until it hits just like so. And then this piece here, we'll go ahead and peel that back. And that's going to go right down into this area here. So I'm going to just kind of pull up on this piece. Drop this guy right down in there. And there we go. And we're going to repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, now here is our driver's side rail. Now the prop rod is to the inside of that rail. Also up towards the front, we've got a drain cup where the spout is shooting straight down. What we're going to do, this is going to be laying on top of our bed cap and just kind of hanging there, and it's going to go forward to touch the bulkhead. But if you've got the deck rail system, what you're going to need to do is first remove that end plug before you can do that. And then I'm just going to pull this down. We'll set this back into place and then run this all the way up against the bulkhead, just like so. Now this is where it's going to be oriented. Now before we set it in place, let me show you how your clamps are going to work. So I'm going to set this down to the side. These are our clamps. Now the clamps, they basically just kind of loosen up like so, and they spread apart. Now, because this is a Tundra, you may have the deck rail system here, or you may not have that deck rail system. If you do not have the deck rail system, you'll use the clamps just the way they are, and it will be going up into the bed cap and clamping together like so once it's attached to the rail. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. We have the deck rail system, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this clamp apart. This really long bolt I'm not going to be able to use because it's going to be too long. I will be using this washer and this part of the clamp that has a slotted hole. The part that has the threaded hole I will not be using. All right, now if I have the rail here and I lift it up, what you're going to notice is I've got a channel that's running through the inside of this rail. Now the way that this clamp is shaped, it will actually snap right into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and insert it into the rail, and then rotate it down, and it just kind of clamps, it just kind of clicks in place, and then I can adjust that forward and backward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other two, I've already taken these apart, so I'm going to take the other two and also snap them into the rail. Get it back a little bit further. And then get one kind of closer to the tailgate. And then we can rotate that down and see it's lining up to our deck rail system. Now I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side. Down below, we've also got the other portion of our clamp system that we're going to use. So in our kit, what we'll have We're going to keep the black washer, but we'll also use the silver bolt and the lock washer from our kit and go through that. We're going to set these to the side. Up here, we're going to take our plug out of our deck rail system. And these T-nuts, what we're going to do, make sure this side is facing out, but we're going to slide these into the deck rail system. And get them lined up just like this. Now we can set this in place. Let me also go ahead and point out the drain tube right here, the drain cup. We have drain tubes that can attach to. That just slides over top of the drain cup and presses in place. And then you can route this out like a kick out or something like that. But what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to use this because we've got the fiber liner. It's waterproof on the other side. So I'm going to have this one set up to where it just drops any kind of water behind the fiber liner. And now what we're going to do is take and line up these just like so. And then I'll move this out of the way so I can take my hardware, line it up. And I'm going to put this on just hand tight for right now. But as I'm putting this on, I want to make sure that this is all the way up against the bed cap and all the way down as well. And all the way up against the bulkhead. So as I'm holding that into place, get that finger tight here. This one in finger tight, and go through the one on the end as well. All right, well, I want to double check, make sure everything's all where it needs to be. Then we're going to go ahead and tighten everything down to 10 foot-pounds using a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. All right, repeat the same process for the rail on the opposite side. Okay, so this is how the cover is going to come out of the box. Now you'll notice we've got a strap that's right here that's clipped to our slam latch. If I grab a hold of the cover and lift up, I can pull out my header panel. And this is what we're going to focus on right now. So right here we've got some tape just for packaging purposes. We've got it covering up a couple of holes here, so we're going to pull that tape off. We're going to fold it back this way and pull the tape off of this side as well. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to take in our kit, we've got a couple of backer plates. So these are actually little threaded inserts that they're going to go into these holes here. Now everything I do on this side, we're also going to do on the opposite side. But I'm going to go ahead and fold this back down. We've got the 2 threaded backer plates here. Now in our kit, we'll also have a clip receiver that needs to be facing that clip. So I'm going to set the clip back in place. Take the clip receiver, flip it upside down, and then find the adhesive to attach to the bottom. So we're going to peel that off. And then line that up to the holes. And press that in place. Then we take and set it over top of those 2 holes. And then take a Phillips head screwdriver and get these started down into the holes. Once we get them lined up and started, you don't want to tighten them down all the way until we get them both started. Once they're both lined up and started, then we can go ahead and lift up and snug them down. We don't need to over tighten it, just get it nice and snug. Then fold this back over. Now right down here we're going to see we've got a C-shaped channel. That's where we're going to use our cover retaining clamps. So this is our clamp. What we're going to do is loosen that clamp up. Once that's loosened up, I can take the bottom of the clamp and push up, and it pushes this carriage bolt up. Now that carriage bolt is going to have a square head in there that's going to slide inside the channel, and that channel is going to trap that square head to where it can't spin. So we're going to get that in place like so. Now I don't want to bring this too far over. I just want this just kind of right to the end here. This portion right here I want to have facing towards the rail, because this is where it's going to sit on top of the rail. And then I'm just going to snug it down for right now. That's just to keep it from moving around. And we're going to repeat the same process on the opposite side. Then we can take and put this up on top of the rails. All right, so now what we're going to do is take and set the cover up on top of the rails. And we're going to center it side to side. Make sure that it's all the way up against the bulkhead, and it does need to be centered, so let's slide that over a little bit. All right, once we've got it centered side to side, what we're going to do is one panel at a time, go ahead and fold it back to the tailgate. All right, and as we fold each panel, make sure each panel goes down nice and centered. All right, we're going to go ahead and check the engagement at the tailgate. All right, and that looks good. I need to adjust it just a little bit. All right. Now we can go ahead and very gently fold it up towards the cab of the truck. Make sure you don't shift it out of alignment, and then we can go ahead and fasten it underneath the cab. Okay, so here we are underneath the cover on the driver's side. This is our cover retaining clamp, and this is our rail that we just set the cover on top of. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up, and that way this can drop down. Again, I want to remind you, we've got this notch right here that needs to stay nested inside that channel. Then we've also got a groove up here that needs to capture the rail. So what we're going to do is slide it over to the rail, get where the groove is right onto that rail, and then snug it down. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, as we fold this up towards the cab of the truck, we want to make sure the cover is actually protected against the cab. So we've got these cab bumpers that we need to install onto this top panel. Now, before we install those cab bumpers, though, what we need to do is we need to see where they need to be installed. So I'm going to do one in the center and one on each side. And then I need to also prep that surface with some rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to use 91% rubbing alcohol, just standard rubbing alcohol, and just wipe that surface down. That removes any kind of residues that might be there from manufacturing, any kind of dust, or anything that would weaken the bond. And then we're going to attach one at a time. Make sure you bear down nice and tight. It helps us get good adhesion there. And last one. And there we go, we're nice and protected. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.